I'm Teacher Robin. Welcome to another live streaming class. If this is your first time to join the class, let me explain how it works. Today we're going to talk about climate change. So if you have a question during the class, you can write your question in the comment section and I will be checking them as we go along. So if you want to tell us where you're joining us from, or if you have a question related to today's topic, climate change, then feel free to write in the comments. Okay, so why have I selected this topic? This was one of the most trending topics of 2019 and going on to 2020. Climate change, it's something that is relevant all over the world and it's something that's very important to talk about. So I'm going to give you useful vocabulary and the correct grammar to use so that you can have a conversation about this topic in English. Okay, so let's start with some just basic vocabulary related to climate change. So when we talk about climate change, a lot of times we're talking about the weather. So let's look at some different weather nouns, basic nouns that we use to talk about climate change. So we have sun, rain, fog, wind, clouds or lightning, thunder. The forecast is the prediction of the weather. So if you say, what is the forecast today? It's going to rain, it's going to be sunny, etc. And the temperature. So many times when we talk about climate change, we talk about temperatures rising, temperatures dropping, etc. Okay, so these are some of the most basic general nouns that we use to talk about climate change. Now we're going to go more into depth. How do we form from these basic nouns adjectives to talk about climate change? So what we do is, in many cases, not all, but as a basic rule, you can add a Y to the end of the noun to form the adjective. So this is the case in cloud, cloudy would be the adjective, fog, foggy. So here with words that end in G, you double the G and add a Y. So this is just an example of some ways that you can form adjectives from nouns. You add a Y. Here are some cases where that rule does not apply. For example, in the case of hot, warm, cool, cold, dry, or humid. Okay, so these are exceptions to the rule, adjectives to talk about the weather. All right, so let's look at how we can create sentences, a complete sentence to talk about weather conditions. When we talk about the weather, we use it is, or the shortened form, the contraction it's, plus the adjective. So you can choose from this list that we just looked at. For example, it's very foggy today. I don't think I'll be riding my bike to school. Or it is, and the verb ending in ing. For example, it's raining. It's raining cats and dogs. This is an expression in English which means that it's raining very heavily. It's raining cats and dogs. We'll have to cancel the picnic. Okay, so remember, in English to talk about the weather, we use the it's plus adjective or the it's plus verb with ing. All right, so how can we start a conversation first by talking about what is climate change? Maybe you want to ask someone, the person you're talking to, the person who's talking to you, the person you're talking to, what do you know about climate change? Okay, so what have you heard? What have you read, etc.? What do you know? Another way to ask, do you know what climate change is? Okay, and then you can start to ask someone's opinion, like how do you feel about climate change? Do you think there's something we can do to reverse it? So if you believe that climate change is real, that it exists, do you think that there is something that we can do to stop it or to go back? Okay, some other questions. What causes climate change? So let's look at some vocabulary related to the causes of climate change. Okay, so this is more science-related vocabulary. All right, so we have emissions. For example, these are gases and other substances released into the air by cars and factories. So when you drive your car, it releases emissions. Okay, so we also have carbon dioxide. And the carbon dioxide emissions have increased a lot over the last few decades. This is due to climate change. What else? We have the greenhouse effect and greenhouse gases. So what are these? Due to the high emissions, the greenhouse effect has become harmful to our planet. What's another word related to climate change? Pollution. Okay, pollution is when the air around you actually becomes dirty, becomes unclean. For example, pollution levels in Japan are so high that already there are illnesses caused by it named after Japanese cities. So this is a fact that you may not know. Okay, so I see several people are joining us so far. We have Sao from Luxembourg and Veris from Thailand that are saying hello. Hello, thank you for joining. I hope that you are finding this topic interesting. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comments. Okay, more vocabulary related to what causes climate change. Okay, we have man-made climate change is one thing, and then we refer to global warming. For example, I think that by now no one could deny that most of global warming is man-made, meaning that human beings, they do things that actually damage the earth. For example, driving cars, creating waste, things like that. These are things that lead to man-made climate change. So not something that naturally happens, but something that we as humans cause to happen. All right, let's look at some new phrases that have developed recently. Instead of using the vocabulary climate change, the word climate change, some new vocabulary that has come up is instead of saying climate change, we say climate crisis, which means that it's actually becoming more serious. Okay, so it's gone from something that's changing to an emergency. Okay, a climate crisis or climate emergency, or even climate breakdown. Okay, if something is breaking down, it means that it stops working. So that means that the climate is no longer working as it is supposed to. Okay, another way, instead of saying global warming, some other options are global heating, which means that the world is becoming a hot oven rather than just becoming a higher temperature or more temperate. So instead of global warming, we can say global heating. Okay, so this has been a very short overview of vocabulary to talk about climate change. And now I want to ask you to participate and use this vocabulary by writing in the comments. So I have two questions for you. Have you experienced the effects of climate change where you live? So first of all, where do you live and how is climate change affecting your region, your area? And what is the weather like right now? So you can use some of this weather vocabulary that we saw at the very beginning of the class. So I can tell you right now, I live in Barcelona. It's raining, it's very windy, and this is also a result of climate change. So let's, while you are answering those questions, let's look at all of the options that you have available to you if you study with us at ABBA. So you have so many resources. If you're not an ABBA student currently, then I want to encourage you to check out our course, which you can find on the web, or you can download the app, and you will have available to you many units from beginners to business level, 144 total. So it doesn't matter if you are just starting to learn English or if you already know some English, we have a place for you to start. Our course is based on videos, and so you watch a video and then you complete exercises related to all of the skills that you need to practice: speaking, writing, listening, and reading. So all of those skills are covered in our course. And if you study on the app, we also have a feature called Live English where we are posting new content every day. You can find articles, you can find songs, you can find videos, and they're related to topics that interest you. So this is a really great way for you to practice with us every day at ABBA. We also have our blog, which is called our ABBA Journal. So there you can find articles as well about grammar, about culture, traveling, English for business, all kinds of different topics. And we are available on all of the social media networks. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find new content being posted there every day. So please check it out. You have plenty of resources and plenty of ways to improve your English with us at ABBA. Okay, I see several people have answered the question so far. Cameron says, I live in Dubai and the weather is cute, pleasant. Okay, so pleasant is definitely a good word to describe nice weather. Cute is not exactly something that we use to describe weather. You can use cute to describe a thing or a person or an animal, but it's not so much used to describe weather. But pleasant, for sure. You can say it is very pleasant today if the weather is nice outside. So thank you for participating. Cameron, good job. Okay, I see we have a couple more. I'll just wait for those to show up on the screen. We're working on it. No problem. All right, let me, excuse me, let me tell you about next week's topic. We're going to look at how to talk about routines. So as we are in the month of January, many of you have made New Year's resolutions and you are making plans on maybe starting a routine of taking up a new hobby or something like that. So we're going to look at some adverbs of frequency and how we use those to talk about routines in English. So stay tuned for that. Okay, I see that we have a few more comments. Elena says, it is 4 degrees above zero and rain in Moscow right now. It is incredible. Okay, so if you enjoy that kind of weather, then that's great. Stay warm, Elena, and thank you for watching. Okay, do we have any more? All right, I see a few more are coming, so that's great. It's great because we have so many students joining us from all over the world, so we'll get a lot of different weather descriptions and a lot of different ways that climate change has affected you. Okay, another one. Yili says in Venezuela the weather is hot. Okay, very good. Some people are hot, some people are cold right now. Okay, great. Do we have time for one more? Okay, very good. So we'll just wait for that to show up. Again, if I don't answer your question during the live class, feel free to keep writing and we'll get to those comments later on today. Okay, another one. Lukman Bilba says, I live in Iraq. The weather here becomes hotter and hotter, over 50 degrees. Okay, so that is extremely hot, extremely hot. So I hope that you are staying cool as you're watching this class. Okay, I think we have one more comment. Yes, perfect. All right, let's see. Great. Alonzo says, I'm in Texas where the weather is crazy cold and hot. Alonzo, that's great. I'm from Texas, actually. And the weather, especially in the winter, is crazy because one day it might be warm and the next day it might be snowing. So this is true, and this is also due to climate change. So thanks, take care, and I hope that this class has been useful for you. Don't forget to join us next week when we're talking about routines, and have a great rest of your day. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time. Bye.